Attention bowlers, we are going to get started. Welcome back to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire for another exciting Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour match. I'm Steve Kelly on the call. This is Bill Olson versus Jamie McKenna in this Class D North match. The match format is 5 strings and 14 points up for grabs. 2 points for string, 4 for total pinfall, with ties splitting points. It is good as always to have you along with us. This match was live streamed on Saturday, January 11, 2025. And is available for rewatching anytime upon the conclusion of this match. For those interested, I'd like to highlight a few things. First, this broadcast should have subtitles and live captioning enabled, so if you enjoyed this feature, please feel free to enable it in the controls below. If you're watching this broadcast on YouTube, the transcript feature will likely also be available. And Bill Olson, oh my goodness, a very tall fellow. He starts out, our away bowler, starts out with a right side Candlepin corner. Oh my goodness, during warm-ups I thought I would be able to escape the Bill Olson tallness, but regardless, he figures it out on the second frame, on the second ball for a spare, 10 and a bonus after 1 for Bill Olson, our away bowler. So folks, keep an eye on the unofficial scoreboard on your screen. It's here for the benefit of the broadcast, while our bowlers maintain the official book records separately. Scores may be subject to review or correction. Here's Bill Olson down on lane 6 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. And I believe that's going to be a 3-fill on his spare. He wasn't on the head pin. Is a 3-fill. So Bill Olson, our away bowler from Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. No second mark in a row for Bill Olson. Record of 34-92 with 9 matches played. A .37 win-loss ratio. At home, he's 18-38. And away, he's 16-54. 4 matches played at home, 5 matches played away. That's a 6 box for Bill Olson in the second for 19 after 2. Bill Olson's season average is 94.3. Oh, we just had to reset for a pin that fell. At home, Bill Olson's home average is 94.9. His away average is 93.7. His high single is 116. His high series is 507. With 16 strikes, 53 spares, and 72 tens, he has a perfect box percentage of 38. He has 4,240 seasonal total pins. Presently, Bill Olson is 4th place in Class D North, Division 3. He is currently 16th place in the wild card. Bill Olson, after a reset for a respot when one of the pins fell. And he is to the right of the head pin. Drops 6. That's the 4 horseman left side for Bill Olson. And he takes 2, leaves 2. Leaves the 1 and the 2 on the deck. Bill Olson, one of the few bowlers taller than myself. That'll be a 9 box for Bill Olson. And you know what we say about tall bowlers? When it comes to zoom cameras, we are a unique breed. Ask me how I know. Bill Olson's season average so far, 94.3, the 29th highest in Class D North. That's Bill Olson to the left of the head pin. Drops 7. The 1, the 3, and the 9. Bill Olson sails off to the right. Going to see if we can do something about that camera just to accommodate for the verticality, but that's a 7 box for Bill Olson, 35 after 4. Here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire on this very snowy Saturday. But there are plenty of people here actually bowling on the other side of the facility. So Leda Lanes, rain, shine, or snow, doesn't matter what it is. Come bowling at Leda Lanes, people will turn out. That's an 8 drop for Bill Olson on the head pin. The 5 and the 9 are on the deck. Piece of wood down there, kind of out front of the 5 and the 9. And Bill Olson's just off by a little bit. Misses the mark. 35 for 4. 43 so far. Could get to a 45 if he can get the extra pin, and he will. That'll be a 10 box for Bill Olson to start out. The first half of this first game, top of the first for Bill Olson, results in 45 after 5 with 1 mark and a 10 box to bookend both sides of it for Bill Olson. So we are meanwhile just going to flip over to our home bowler today, Jamie McKenna. To the left of the headpin he starts out. Jamie McKenna, first time on my streams. He has a season record of 69 and 57. Class D North Division 1. 9 matches played, 1.21 win-loss ratio. Pins are still falling down there for Jamie McKenna. He nearly got a spare. And it looks like a piece of wood maybe settling potentially out of play, and it might be rolling back into play. Let's see where it ends up. Looks like it's going to be mostly okay. As Bill Olson will go down to have a look. I almost, just from the eyeballing it, I think it's in, but we'll see. And it looks like it is. Thank you, Bill Olson. So Jamie McKenna is shooting for a 10 box. This is Jamie McKenna's rookie season in the ACST in Class D North Division 1, as far as my research can tell. That's a 10 box for Jamie McKenna. 10 after 1. Jamie McKenna has a season average of 97.9. His home average 99.6. His away average 96.2. With a high single of 120 and a high series of 531. Jamie McKenna's opening pitch is off to the right of the headpin. Takes a right side Candlepin corner. Check them out on YouTube. Jamie McKenna has 12 strikes, 65 spares, and 96 10 boxes for the season so far, not counting this match. 31% perfect box percentage for Jamie McKenna. 4,412 seasonal total pins is Jamie McKenna's current pin count. And with that punch out, that'll be a 6 box for Jamie in the second for 16 after 2. Compare that to Bill Olson's 19 after 2 at the equivalent point in the match. Jamie McKenna is second place in Class D North Division 1, and he's the 5th seed in the wild card. He has the 23 high class average, the 23rd high class average at 97.9, and the 8th class total 10 boxes at 96. That's Jamie McKenna. Not quite on the headpin, dropping 4. The 1, the 2, the 6, the 9, and the 10 are on the deck. McKenna fires on it. Nearly goes. The 9 pin is the last to not fall. McKenna for the 10 box. He'll get his 10. That's 26 after 3 for Jamie McKenna. McKenna's opening pitch. It's on the headpin. 6 drop and an awkward split. Looked like a great ball on paper, but he leaves the 7, the 10, the 4, and the 5 with a piece of wood between the 5 and the 10. Let's see what Jamie McKenna can do here. Wanted to get the sweep. Will the 4 go? It goes late. What a fantastic late falling spare by Jamie McKenna. It was the object wood and the object pin. Everything fell, but my goodness, that was one impressive spare that was worth the wait for sure. So Jamie McKenna is working on a spare now. Both bowlers with 1 spare in the match so far. Jamie McKenna, speedy ball down the center, and that's a spread eagle for his efforts. That's a 4-pin academic spread eagle. Lane 6. McKenna's on it, and he gets a kick from right to left, but he leaves the 2 and the 4. For the 10 box with an 8 box guarantee, he'll take 9 for 49 after 5 for Jamie McKenna. Jamie McKenna up in the game by 4, 49 to 45 after 5 here in this first of 5 here on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. 2 headpin shots for Jamie McKenna, 1 headpin shot for Bill Olson, with 2 splits awarded to Jamie McKenna. Jamie McKenna with that awesome spare in the 4th propelled him to 49. Anyways, here is Bill Olson. First ball on lane 5. That's an 8 drop for Bill Olson on the headpin and a split. Olson for the spare, and he's off target. On the 7 and the 9. And that's going to be an 8 box for Bill Olson to open up. Promising first ball, but nothing doing in terms of what ended up being. So Bill Olson, again, he comes from Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. In his past 5 matches, he's taken 20 points, averaging 4 per match, with 8 strikes, 24 spares, and 44 tens in those 5 matches. The standout stat was 8.8 tens per match. That's Bill Olson with an interesting array of pins down there. Let's take a look down there and see what we got. The 1, the 3, the 4, the 7, the 8, the 9, and the 10. Olson fires. And he's on the object pin, but a little bit too... bit of a chunky hit on the center. He leaves the 4 and the 7 on the deck. Olson for the 10 box. That's going to be a fouled 8 box for Bill Olson, as it went into the gutter and popped out to take a pin. And in Candlepin bowling, that does not count. So Bill Olson with 2 headpin shots for 7 today. Jamie McKenna 2 for 5. 1 split for Bill Olson. 2 splits for Jamie McKenna. Olson now. Light hit on the right side. But pins, he gets 1 extra bonus pin, though. 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. Olson. Just to the left, leaves 5 on the deck. 1, 5, 9, 4, 7. For the 10 box, Bill Olson will split the difference and take an 8. That puts Bill Olson at 69 after 8. It's Bill Olson in the baby blue shirt on your left on lane 5 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. And he's on the head pin. That was a great hammer ball, but he drops 8, leaves the 6 and the 9. For all intents and purposes, that really should have been a spare. I mean, a strike. Based on how it looked real tasty on paper. Olson for the spare, just off to the right, doesn't connect with the 6. Olson will take 1 more for a 9 for 78 after 9. With 1 more to go before he sits and finishes the first game. Bill Olson, in his past 5 matches, he's totaled 2,331 pins, averaging 466.2 per match. He's taken 16 points in his past 5 away matches, averaging 3.2 per match, and that's nearly a strike by Bill Olson. Again, a very similar story. He drops 9, leaves the 3. Olson on the single pin spare. Oh, and he's just off by a little bit, just by a hair. And on the retry, he misses on the left side this time, so that puts Bill Olson at 87 in the first game. With 1 mark and 1 10 box for Bill Olson. 4 for 10 on the head pin with 1 split. Say hello now to Jamie McKenna. First time today on lane 5. He's off to the left of the head pin and drops 6. That's the Four Horsemen right side. Down on lane 5. Let's see what Jamie McKenna can do here. 1, 3, 6, 10. Beans the 3, leaves the 1, the 6, and the 10 on the deck. McKenna for the 10 box. Just a little off target. He'll take a 7 for 56 after 6 for Jamie McKenna. To recap, Bill Olson had a 1 mark 87 after the 10 boxes in the first game, with a spare and a 3 fill in the first box. McKenna to the left of the head pin, he takes the 7 pin and only the 7 pin. For the second ball on the retry, he's on the head pin, and the 5 pin goes. That's a fantastic spare for Jamie McKenna. Everything went. Now he just has to make that second ball, the first ball, and he'll really be in business. So that's 66 and a bonus after 7 for Jamie McKenna. McKenna, opening pitch, is on the nose, but fills with 5. 71 after 7 for Jamie McKenna with that 5 fill in the spare. And he has to play the right. 3 takes 2. That's a spare for Jamie McKenna. That's a highlight shot right there. Fantastic shot by Jamie McKenna. Effectively converting the spread eagle, really. If the 2 pin was there, I think it probably would have gone all the same. So that's 2 spares in a row for Jamie McKenna. 81 and a bonus after 8 after that spare and a 5 fill in the 7th. Jamie McKenna is now in good positioning to take the first game. McKenna, he's on the head pin again. That's a 6 fill. So that is the 7-4-5-2, and the 7 even got moved a little bit. And McKenna's just off to the right, takes the 5, leaves the 2-4-7 on the deck. For the 10 box and a 7 box guarantee, that'll be an 8 for Jamie McKenna. That'll be 95 and 9. And he will take the first game against Bill Olson, who only had 87. Jamie McKenna has passed 5 matches. He's taken 43 points, averaging 8.6 per match, with 35 spares, 57 tens, and 5 strikes in the past 5 matches. And that's a 3-pin talent spread eagle for Jamie McKenna. Well, he just took a version of this a couple of boxes ago. Let's see if he can take it again. Well, unfortunately, nothing doing there. He sailed right through the void. So that's 3 down, 7 up. Jamie McKenna, 5 for 10 on the head pin so far with 4 splits and 3 marks. And he tries to make 3 take 4, but the 3 pin sailed right through. Didn't take anything. So that'll be the first game for us at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, this first of 5. That put Jamie McKenna will take 2 points. 101 to Bill Olson's 87, and those scores are confirmed. Jamie McKenna with a standout 3 marks, especially with that partial eagle conversion spare. And that was a fantastic, fantastic performance by Jamie McKenna, so he will take 2 points to start out. Nick Susi, still a little bit sore from his match yesterday, saying it's all my fault. But hey, Nick, you threw a 600 the other day against Todd Holbrook. So Bill Olson, again, very tall gentleman. I apologize for the less than ideal camera situations, but kind of is what it is. I got the zoom cam literally as high as I can possibly put it. And Bill Olson, meanwhile, in the second ball for the spare, he almost converts. He's left with the 7 on the deck. Just like his first game, he almost Well, unlike the first game, he almost opens up with a spare but doesn't. That'll be a 9 box for Bill Olson. 9 after 1. Thanks for tuning in to the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, the best place to watch some of the most exciting Candlepin matches from a wide selection of bowlers from all skill levels. We are about midway through the season of the ACST. That's Bill Olson to the right of the headpin. The result is I believe a 6 drop. Oops. There's a sleeper pin behind the 2. And Olson on the spare conversion, he can't quite match it, or can't quite complete the job. So it is what it is there. And for the 10 box, he'll take 9. 18 after 2 for Bill Olson. So Bill Olson with 2 9 boxes in a row this game so far. 4 headpin shots for 12 with 1 split. Olson, that ball tails to the left. Left side Candlepin corner. Check out Candlepin Corner on YouTube and Facebook. And Olson on the second ball, he's just off by a little bit. Doesn't take anything. He's looking at a 2 box or greater. And my goodness, he takes the 10 pin. That'll be a 3 for Bill Olson for 21 after 3. Talking about Bill Olson, recently he faced Casey McCool in round 9. It was a home game at Lakeside Lanes where he took 4 points with a 463 series, a 102, an 83, an 87, a 94, and a 97 with 1 strike, 6 spares, and 6 tens. That's Bill Olson with a split down there, a 6 drop. That's the 2-4-7-9. And I think he had a bit of a misfire there, or a foot slide or something, but the ball didn't collide with anything. Bill Olson had 16 headpin shots and 7 splits against Casey McCool in round 9. And Bill Olson will take an 8 box for 29 after 4. Bill Olson's home lanes are Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. In the 2023-2024 season, he finished 2nd place in D North Division 4 and 6th place overall, 2nd place in the wildcard seeding. And that is Bill Olson with a version of the spread eagle. It's a headpin shot, but not the headpin shot you want. That's a split. The 5th frame. Olson will take the 7 and leave everything else. No mark. Bill Olson, his longest streak of strings at or over 100 has been 2. His longest streak of matches at or over 475 is 3. And Olson will turn that into a 7 box. Bit of a rough half for Bill Olson, but he's at 36 after 5 so far. Olson with 6 headpin shots today for 15. Say hello to Jamie McKenna one more time on lane 6 here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire on Amber Street. Jamie McKenna on the headpin, nearly a strike. He drops 9, leaves the 10 pin on the deck. On lane 6, he fires, plays the wood, and hits the wood a little bit too full, leaves the 10 unharmed. No mark for Jamie McKenna. For the follow-up, but it will be a 9. He'll miss both times. That's 9 after 1 for Jamie McKenna so far. This is the ACST, Candlepin Bowling at its finest. Don't go anywhere. We got a whole lot more bowling coming up. We're only in the top of the 2nd game today. Jamie McKenna is to the left of the head pin. He drops 6. That's the 4 horseman left side. Or 4 horseman right side, excuse me. That's the 1, the 3, the 6, and the 10. McKenna shooting for a spare. Hopefully can run down the right side 4 horsemen. 1, 3, 6, 10. Ooh, and it looks good. Oh, and almost too good. He was down the center, and the ball, I think, just hit the head pin a little bit too full at the last second. So now he's shooting for a 10 box with an 8 box guarantee, and that will be a 10 box for Jamie McKenna, 19 after 2 for Mr. McKenna. Recently, Jamie McKenna faced Anthony Caron in round 9. It was an away game. He took 10 points with a 531 series with 105, 102, 102, and 120. That's a lot of 1s and 2s and O's. He had 2 strikes, 10 spares, and 16 10s in that recent match. Jamie McKenna. On the head pin, that's a 9 drop on the 4 pin. Piece of wood rolling towards the 4 pin. And past the 4 pin. Head pin shot, no split. Something that's quite good. 7 for 13 on the head pin, Jamie McKenna is. And that's a spare for Jamie McKenna. Look at that. 29 after 3 for Jamie McKenna now. Jamie McKenna starting to pull ahead in terms of the mark fills in particular. He's totaled 15, averaging 3.8 per mark. Bill Olson just has 3, as he just has 1 mark. McKenna working on a spare. On the head pin, 8 drop and a split, leaving the 5 and the 7, but there is some favorable wood down there on the 5 and the 7. Play the wood in some way. Might recommend the right side of the frontmost wood, maybe on the cap or the red line, but the red line I was worried about that happening where you just might not get enough of a leftward bounce. So no mark for Jamie McKenna here. He's left with a 7 pin for a 10 box, 9 box guarantee. And I believe that's going to be a 9 box. I'll hold for the call. Looks like we're going to do the score correction now. So that's 46 after 4 for Jamie McKenna. 3 for 4 on the head pin this game so far with only 1 split. And 8 for 14 on the head pin with 5 splits so far this game. McKenna on lane 6. The pitch to the left, wildly off to the left, just on the 7. Jamie McKenna has taken 2,440 pins in his past 5 matches, averaging 4.88 per match. In his past 5 matches, he's taken 37 points, averaging 7.4 per match. Jamie McKenna leaves the 1 and the 9 on the deck. McKenna, longest streak of matches at or over 100 has been 5. His longest streak of matches at or over 475 has been 3. And that will be the end of the half with that 8 box for Jamie McKenna, who has 54 after 5 at the top of the second. But he's still ahead by 18 to Bill Olson's 36 after 5. Those marks really keeping him afloat here against Bill Olson. Now we're saying hello to Bill Olson on lane 5. So left the head pin with a half Worcester. Olson on the Worcester. Trying to make something happen here, but he can't quite do it. No mark. Working for a 10 box. And he'll take a few more outs for a 7 box for 43 after 6 for Bill Olson. Bill Olson, on average, goes 18 for 50 on the head pin per match, with 10 splits on average per match. Again, he has a season record of 34 and 92. And he's on the head pin that time, drops 6. It's the 7-9-10-2 for Bill Olson. with a lot of wood around it. Let's see what Bill Olson can do. Olson fires on the wood, and the wood splits and only takes the 10. I thought he was going to get at least a few more pins than that. He's left with the 2, the 7, and the 9 for a 10 box and a 7 box guarantee. It's going to be his third 7 box in a row, and that will be 50 after 7 for Bill Olson. 3 7s in a row is good in Vegas on the slots, but I don't know about Candlepin bowling. But regardless, 3 7s in a row. 3 for 7 on the head pin and 3 splits for Bill Olson. 7 for 17 on the head pin and 4 splits today for Bill Olson. And that's a head pin shot right there, and that's a strike for Bill Olson. There we go. Fantastic fantastic first strike of the match for anybody. And it is Bill Olson's for the taking. In fact, it fell so smoothly and slowly that they had to score correct it. So Bill Olson on the board. He needed that one. 60 and a bonus in the 8th with that strike. 8 for 18 on head pins. Olson for the double. Just tails off to the right. Takes a few. He has one more ball to complete the fill. 1, 2, 4, 5, 8, 9. Olson on the spare fill completion, and that will be 7 for 67 and 8. Olson shooting for a 10 box now. 7, 8, 9, or 10. It'll be 7 for 74 in 9 for Mr. Bill Olson. With 1 to go before he sits. Just a wall of 7s if you count the fill for Bill Olson in the second half in particular. Olson, final first ball of the second game. On the head pin again. Split, 7 drop, 4, 6, 10. 4, 6, 10 for Bill Olson. And he sails through the center goalposts. And he gets the field goal. And the award is 3 pins standing. And he does it again, but we can't award it twice. That'll be another 7 box for Bill Olson. Just the wall of 7s for Bill Olson in this game. 81, second game, and a 2-game total of 168 for Bill Olson. Double checking that. That is confirmed on the automatic scoreboard. So we're going to say hello to Jamie McKenna now on lane 5 as he gets ready to fire. Ready, aim, fire. Jamie McKenna. And that was more ready, fire, aim, I gotta say. He's on the left side 7 pin on the first ball. Jamie McKenna, on average, goes 24.5 for 50 on the head pin with 12.5 splits per match. And that's a bit of a better second ball. Still leaves 5 on the deck. 1, 3, 6, 8, and 9 for Jamie McKenna. And McKenna will take 2 and have himself a nice 7 box in the 6th for 61 and 6 for Jamie McKenna. Stay with us for all the action as Jamie McKenna and Bill Olson battle it out on the lanes in this ACST match at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. McKenna. Oh. First ball. 6 drop and a split 4, 6, 3, 10. Got to collide with the 3-6 pocket on the right side. Hopefully you can get a kick to the 4. McKenna fires, and he's on the 3-6, but a little bit too full. Leaves the 4 and the 10. And McKenna will take 8. 69 and 7 for Jamie McKenna. Jamie McKenna, again, with a season record of 69 and 57. That's a positive seasonal record after 9 matches. So he made it halfway and came out okay. Jamie McKenna, who is currently Second place in his division and fifth in the fifth seed in the wild card. That's a 7 drop and a split for Jamie McKenna. That's a 7-10-6. McKenna on the 7-10-6. He plays the wood in the center, takes the 7, leaves the 6 and the 10. No mark. 8, 9, or 10 box for Jamie McKenna. It's going to be an 8. Jamie McKenna's at 77 after 8. He's 5 for 8 on the head pin this game with 3 splits. He's 10 for 18 on the head pin with 7 splits in the match. 2 boxes to go. He has to get to 81 or greater to take points. McKenna to the left of the head pin. It's a left side half Worcester for Jamie McKenna. Half Worcesters when you punch out the 2 and the 8 or just a 3 and the 9, and a quarter Worcesters if you just take the 2 or the 3. And McKenna on the half Worcester conversion, it nearly goes. He leaves the 5 and the 10 with a piece of wood along the 5 and the 10. 8 box or greater for Jamie, and will he get the kick? He will get the kick, but he won't connect with the 10 fully, so that's a 9 box for Jamie McKenna. And that's 86 and 9 for Mr. McKenna. Everyone involved here, from the bowlers to the staff you cannot see, I'll appreciate your viewership and interest in the world of Candlepin bowling. We're at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire today. Opened in 1959, Leda Lanes is a family-owned and operated Candlepin bowling center located in Nashua, New Hampshire. It's another half Worcester for Jamie McKenna. Founded by the late Edgar and Ray Simino, passed down through Sean Howard, Linda Howard, and Alexis Booley, along with Matt Susi, Nick Susi, Joe Booley, and countless other hardworking folks can maintain a busy center with tons of leagues, cornhole, birthday parties, and whatever it is you can think of. It's at Leda Lanes. Leda Lanes features all wood approaches with all wood lanes and sensor-based automatic scoring. The scoring software is known as Cubica AMF BES, recently installed just a year ago. And that is a 93 for Jamie McKenna. That is confirmed. Jamie McKenna will take the second game as well as the first game. Jamie McKenna currently at 4 points to Bill Olson 0. Jamie McKenna with a 93 in the second game and a 2-game total of 194. Bill Olson, 2-game total of 168 with that 81 in the second game. Jamie McKenna leads in the total by 26 and took the second game by 12. So let's walk down to the next game here. This is Bill Olson on lane 6. And Olson, nice opening statement on the head pin. It's the 4 pin. 9 drop. And for the spare, I think he's got it. I'll hold for the call. I think he's got it. Nice spare for Bill Olson to open up. 10 after 1 and a bonus for Bill Olson. Olson on a spare. And oof, he wasn't quite the ball he was looking for. Connects with the 7 for a 1 fill on a spare. That's 11 after 1 for Bill Olson. And Olson punches right. Takes 2 more out. He's having a heck of a time. Just a game of Mike Tyson's punch out down there. And Olson will take a few more out, and he'll take a 6 box that he went to absolute war for. That's 17 after 2 for Bill Olson. Bill Olson, when he's away, he's 16 and 54. When he's home, he's 18 and 38. Bill Olson on the head pin, 8 drop, much better ball that time. On target. And that is the 5 and the 9 down there for Bill Olson for a spare. Shoot down the center and take your sticks. And will it go? Oh, will he steal it? Oh, the 9-pin just doesn't want to play ball. Doesn't go. He touched both. 9-pin doesn't fall. No mark for Bill Olson in the third. Olson will take a 9-box in the third for 26 after 3. Bill Olson with 1 strike and 2 spares, 11 headpin shots for 23, 5 splits, totaling 11 pins and bonus pin mark fills, averaging 3.7 per mark. And Olson is to the left of the headpin. Takes a, I believe, 11 drop and an extra pin. 2 drop. For the remedial second ball, and everything goes. That's a spare for Bill Olson. It all goes. 36 in the ball after 4 for Bill Olson. Great mark. That's his third spare of the game and his 4th mark of the game. Olson working on a spare. Ace to the right with a 6 fill. Not in the headpin. But that will propel him to 42 after 4. That's the 1, the 2, the 4, and the 9 on the deck. Olson will take the 4 and leave everything else. And Olson will take 1 more out for an 8-box in the 5th for 50 after 5 for Bill Olson. That shall be the half. 2 mark, 50 after 5 for Bill Olson with a spare 1 and a spare 6. 1 strike, 3 spares, 11 headpin shots, 5 splits for 25 boxes so far. Totaling 17 in fills, averaging 4.3 per mark. I'm going to say hello to Jamie McKenna now. First time in the 3rd game here of 5, and that's a headpin shot and a split, 6 drop, 7, 8, 10, 5. With a wiggling 5. McKenna for a spare. Just a little off target. Leaves the 5, 7, and 10. 7-box guarantee. 10-box maximum. This is a hard shot, especially with no wood. It is possible. You got to hit the pin in the center to get a kick. And McKenna will just sail by the 5, and that will be a 7-box for Jamie McKenna to start out. 7 after 1 for Jamie McKenna, 11 for 21 in the headpin today, 8 splits today, with 0 strikes and 4 spares. Both bowlers with 4 marks. Jamie McKenna has no strikes, though. He's in the hunt. Jamie McKenna. On the headpin, drops 7. 3, 6, 10 on the deck. McKenna on the 3, 6, 10 for the spare. Oh, and the ball just tails to the left. So no mark. It's going to be for a spare, for a 10-box now. And he misses on the 3rd ball as well, unfortunately. That will be a 7-box for Jamie McKenna. That's 14 after 2. Compare that to Bill Olson's 17 after 2. So Jamie McKenna is currently in the lead in terms of mark fills, totaling 23, averaging 5.8 per mark. Olson totaling 17, averaging 4.3 per mark. Jamie McKenna on the headpin there, and pins are still mixing, 7 drop, leaving the right side triangle on the deck. Down there, it's the 6, 9, 10. Barring no disasters, this should be a layup. And it looks good. And it is good. That's a spare for Jamie McKenna. That's 24 after 3. Jamie McKenna is perfect on the headpin this game so far. 3 for 3 with only 1 split. And he's 13 for 23 on the headpin and with 8 splits. And Jamie McKenna, on average, goes 24.5 per 50, just under 50% on the head pin, on average, based on the head pin and split data we have. And McKenna fires on the spare fill, and that's an 8 fill on the spare. Another head pin shot, the 4 and the 7 on the deck. Waiting for a piece of wood just to finish rolling. It's in the rule book, gotta wait till it stops. McKenna, and he just almost gets the double spare. He's just off the 4 pin by just a little bit. You saw it all in the reaction there. And for the 10 box, and it will be a 9 for Jamie McKenna for 41 after 4. One to go before he sits. He's still perfect on the head pin, 4 for 4. Jamie McKenna, that is. Bill Olson has 50 after 5. McKenna. Opening ball, it's another head pin shot. It's a perfect head pin half for Jamie McKenna. And a 5 drop, the bucket of 5 on the right. That's the 4, 6, 3, 9, 10 with no wood. Basically a right side diamond plus the 10. Three, 5, 6, 9, 10. Gotta play the 3, 5 or the 3, 6. He plays the 3, 6, but the 5 and the 9 stay. 8 box, 9 box, or 10 box for Jamie McKenna. His accuracy has greatly improved this game in particular, although I say that and then that happens. But it's an 8 box for Jamie McKenna, all things considered. Staying competitive with Bill Olson's 50 half, but again, look at that head pin stat. Perfect. 5 for 5 this game. Jamie McKenna currently at a 60% head pin percentage overall. So 49 to 50, just a difference of 1 in this game and a difference in the total by 25. So we're going to say hello to Bill Olson once again on lane 5. And he drops a few. Not on the head pin. Also on the follow-up for the spare, and he'll take 2 more and leave everything else. And Olson will finish with a 7 box to start out the second half. Olson's off to the right of the head pin there. Just had an awkward release there. And for the spare, well, not quite sure what happened there, but ball just had an air ball there. So no mark. Third ball, great out, great conversion, and it looks like it's going to be an 8 for Bill Olson, 65 and 7. And I may have a score correction to announce for Jamie McKenna. I'm just taking a look now. Looks like his second box was actually a 6, and I'm going to follow the bowler, so whether it was actually correct before or not, just going on the automatic score system. Bill Olson with a 9 drop meanwhile. Bill Olson shooting for a spare on the 10. So I do have a correction. Jamie McKenna appears to be at 48 after 5. And Bill Olson just misses it. Olson for the 10, and he'll miss to the left. It's a 9 box for Bill Olson, 74 after 8. Bill Olson currently 12 for 28 on the head pin with 5 splits. Jamie McKenna is 15 for 25 with 8 splits. Bill Olson on lane 5. He fires to the right, takes 2 on the 6-10. Olson for the spare ball. Not on the headpin, but mixes down all but the 1 and the 3. For the 10 box, he'll take 1 and leave 1 for a 9 for 83 and 9 for Bill Olson. Bill Olson at the moment with 1 strike, 3 spares, 12 headpin shots, 5 splits, 17 in total pins from marks, averaging 4.3 per mark, 41% headpins, 17% splits. Splits are contingent on headpin shots. Olson to the right of that, to the left of the headpin, takes 3. That's the 1, the 5, the 3, the 6, the 7, the 9, the 10. For the spare, Olson fires, and he's off to the right, takes the 6 and the 10, leaves 5 other pins on the deck. 4 in the center, 1 on the left. The 10 box, he'll take 8. It's going to be a 91 for Bill Olson, I believe. We'll verify that in just a moment. It's going to be 91 after 3 for a 3-game total of 259 for Bill Olson. 1 strike, 3 spares, 12 headpin shots, 5 splits, 17 in bonus fill totals, averaging 4.3 per mark. That's the benchmark for Bill Olson to take the 3rd game. 43 points is what Jamie McKenna needs to tie or win. Whichever happens first, but let's see what Jamie McKenna can do here. And he's off to the left on the 7 pin. That was his first non-headpin shot of this game. Jamie McKenna on the remedial 2nd ball, he takes the 3 and the 9. The 7, the 3, and the 9 are down, everything else is up. Jamie McKenna in the blue Leda Lanes shirt. For the 10 box, that was a good out considering. So that's an 8 box for Jamie McKenna for 56 in 6. Compare that to Bill Olson's 57 and 6. That's where everything is shaking out right now. Jamie McKenna on the headpin with a split. The 5, the 7, and the 8 are on the deck. No wood, though. That's a rough split conversion. 5, 7, 8. On the 5, 7, 8 for Jamie McKenna for the spare, and he'll take the 8 and leave the 5 and the 7. Nothing doing on that one. Jamie McKenna 16 for 27 on the headpin with 9 splits. He'll take 1 and leave 1 for a 9 box. That puts him at 65 after 7 for Jamie McKenna. Both blowers even at 65 in the 7th. Jamie McKenna with 1 spare, Bill Olson with 2. We have a match, folks. We have a game, folks. We have it all, folks, and that's a strike by Jamie McKenna. I swear I had one of those Berenstain Bears effects where I looked down on the lane and I swear all 10 were down, and then I looked again and 1 was up again, but it was just a late falling pin. That's a strike for Jamie McKenna, his first of the match. He's on the board. Both blowers with 1 strike. McKenna was in the hunt, but he finally has it. So Jamie McKenna's working on a strike for the double. And he's off to the right. The headpin takes 5. It's a 4 horse on the left side and the 10. 1, 2, 4, 7, 10 for Jamie McKenna. For the spare. And he's just off target, not on the headband, but it will be a great 7 fill on the strike. That puts him at 82 and 8. And he's left with the high-low jack, the 1-7-10 TV shot, WCVB. Channel 5, Candlepin bowling with Don Gillis shot, but assisted with wood, and he almost takes it. He leaves the 7. That's a 9 box. That's 91 and 9 for Jamie McKenna. That is confirmed. And Jamie McKenna is tied with Bill Olson at 91 in the 3rd game, and he still has 1 box to go, so it looks like he is going to take the 3rd game and 6 points. McKenna. To the right of the head pin, it's not a head pin shot. 1, 2, 4, 7, and 9 are on the deck. The 1, 2, 4, 7, 9 is called the Cleary, named after Bob Cleary of Lexington, Massachusetts, who used to post about it a lot, and an early predecessor to Candlepin Chat on Facebook. Thanks to Bob Lee for that little history there. And apparently the legend is that he got that shot a lot, and he talked about it a bunch, according to Joey Lister. So that is it for the third game here. And that is a 100 even for Jamie McKenna for a 3-game total of 294 compared to Bill Olson's 3-game total of 259. Jamie McKenna so far perfect in terms of the points. He has 6 points. And again, that headpin stat, 7 for 10 in the third game for Jamie McKenna at a 57% quarterback ranking, has really propelled him into superlative territory there. So, but anyways, that's going to be the third game. Enough about the third game. Let's go to the fourth game. Bill Olson, let's go. And he's to the left of the head pin, and he lemon drops the 4-pin. That's a lemon drop. That's a $1 donation to Candlepins for Cancer per occurrence if you take the 4 or the 6-pin out. And Bill Olson on the head pin, and will it all go? And that's a spare. That's what Bill Olson thinks of lemon drops. That's a spare for Bill Olson on the lemon drop. So everybody wins. Candlepins for Cancer gets $1, and Bill Olson gets a spare. It's a win all around for everybody. Bill Olson opens up with the mark. Olson on the spare that he's working on. Not on the head pin, but pins are still mixing. That's going to be an 8 on his spare. Oh, a 9 on his spare. Will it be a 10 on his spare? Oh my goodness. Probably one of the slowest moving strikes I've seen in quite a while. Not the slowest, but one of the slowest. I wrote it off as an 8 fill, and it became a strike on spare for Bill Olson, and it wasn't on the head pin. Crazy, crazy action here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. So Bill Olson is now on a strike on spare, and he's working on a strike. And he drops 9. And Bill Olson will take a spare on strike on spare. That puts him at a staggering 50 after 3. Crazy numbers by Bill Olson right now. And you know, the phrase is, you'd rather be lucky than good, and, you know, no complaints here. Makes for good television, for sure. Bill Olson on a spare. And it's going to be 4, not on the head pin. That puts him at 54 after 3. And Bill Olson trying to get the additional mark. Pins mix late, but the 1 and the 5 stay. And again, I apologize for the awkward camera angles. Again, Bill Olson is a very, very tall fellow. And he'll punch the 1, but the 5 will not go, and that's a 9 for Bill Olson. 63 in 4 for Bill Olson. So 1 to go before he sits. Thunderous 3 mark 63 after 4 so far. Great half. And Olson fires. He's off to the left. Not a headpin shot there. Had things dialed in for the first 3 boxes. And with a little bit of luck and some pin mixing, he got some extra marks out of it. Olson's on the head pin, and he leaves 3 on the deck. It was a great ball. It was on the head pin, but he leaves the 5, the 8, and the 9. 7 box or greater for Bill Olson. And it will be a 10 box. Great cleanup by Bill Olson, a great out. That puts Bill Olson at a 3 mark 73 after 5. That's something he has definitely been hunting for. So now he's at a 3.5 game total of 332 with 2 strikes and 5 spares. 1 strike and 2 spares just in this half for Bill Olson. 13 for 35 on the headpin with 5 splits. Where we're currently at here on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. And that's Jamie McKenna down on lane 6 getting ready to fire. And he does fire, and that's our right side, a half Worcester. Punches out the 3 and the 9 on the opening ball. McKenna trying to convert the Worcester into a spare, and does it go? It will go. That's the half Worcester into the spare. A couple of really interesting spare conversions today. We had Bill Olson on the lemon drop spare, and then a strike on that spare, and then a spare on that strike, and then we had Jamie McKenna converting the half Worcester into a spare. You'll love to see it. Jamie McKenna's now working on a spare. And a little off, but it's going to be a 7 fill after all said and done for Jamie McKenna. Bill Olson just putting in the score correction there to make it a 7. 3-6-10 for Jamie McKenna for a spare. Let's see, will he get it? Oh, he was just off by a little bit. Oh, that facial reaction right there says it all. And for the 10 box, he'll take 9 for 26 after 2 for Mr. Jamie McKenna. Jamie McKenna with 1 strike, 6 spares. Bill Olson, 2 strikes, 5 spares. 17 headpin shots for McKenna versus Bill Olson's 13. This uneven point in the match. Bill Olson's 3 boxes ahead of Jamie McKenna, just for the record. And McKenna is off to the left of the headpin. Ball is just tailing off to the left. We've been seeing that a lot today. And McKenna's on the headpin for the second ball, but a little bit too full. Leaves a smattering of pins on the right and the left. It's the 4-6-3-10. And he'll just miss it for a 6. That puts him at 32 after 3 for Jamie McKenna. 17 for 33 on the headpin with 9 splits. Bill Olson is 13 for 35 on the headpin with 5 splits. Bill Olson is 2 strikes, McKenna 1. 52% headpin completion percentage today for Jamie McKenna. Totaling 45 in bonus mark fills, averaging 6.4 per mark, but Bill Olson has really caught up. He's caught up to 41 to Jamie McKenna's 45. And Jamie McKenna's to the right of the headpin, takes 3 out. At least I think it's 3. It might have been 2, actually. No, it is 3. Just double check with the automatic scoreboard. And he's off to the right, overcorrects and goes too far to the right. Now he's just got the center to deal with, the centered diamond, the 1, the 5, the 2, and the 3 on the deck for Jamie McKenna. McKenna for the 10 box on lane 6. I see 2 fly and I see 2 stay. That's an 8. That means it's an 8 box for Jamie McKenna for 40 after 4. Hope you're enjoying this match. You're watching the ACST. I'm Steve Kelly, and that's Jamie McKenna down there. Bill Olson waiting in the wings, out on the lanes. Here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Jamie McKenna on the headpin. No, not on the headpin. What am I saying? He drops 6, I believe. 7. No sleeper pin. 1-3-7. It looked like a sleeper briefly, but just the way the pin was angled. The 1, the 3, and the 10 for Jamie McKenna for a spare. And he's on it. And will he get the extra kick? And it goes. Never walk away from a spare as the pins mix down. That's 50 after 5 for Jamie McKenna. It does go. Never count it out in Candlepin bowling. That's 50 after 5 and a bonus for Jamie McKenna. Bill Olson, meanwhile, he had a thunderous 73 half. Let's see if he can keep it going here on the tour. 332 to 344. Jamie McKenna holds on to the total by 12. Bill Olson has the game by 23 so far. That's your score update here on the ACST. Bill Olson starts out on lane 5 to the left of the headpin. That's a 5 drop. 1, 3, 6, 8, 10 on the deck. Olson, oops, sorry about that. Got to fix that camera. Didn't have it set up and ready, but it's no mark for Bill Olson. Olson for the 10 box. He'll take a 9 for 82 in 6 for Bill Olson. Very demure, very mindful. Olson on lane 5. To the left of the head pin and gets a nice drop of 6. A nice slide of a piece of wood in between the 3 and the 6. He's got the 1, 3, 6, 10 right side 4 horsemen to deal with. Olson for the spare on the horseman, and he takes the back half and leaves the front half. No mark for Bill Olson. Bill Olson, 8, 9, or 10 box, 8 box guarantee. He'll take 8 for 90 in 7 for Mr. Bill Olson. Bill Olson, 2 strikes, 5 spares, 13 head pin shots, 5 splits, 41 total bonus pins from marks, averaging 5.9 per mark. He's at 35% on the head pin today. That's Bill Olson. On the head pin and a split, maybe not a split. Pins are still mixing. It will be a split, a drop of 6. 7, actually. 7, 8, 10 for Bill Olson. A lumberyard of wood all around the 7, 8, 10. Play the wood somewhere around the vicinity of the 7, 8 to make it go, and oh, well, that's a foul. That's going to be a -1 on whatever it ends up being for Bill Olson. Misfired. Went way off to the left. No mark. And it's going to be an 8 box with that foul for Bill Olson. That should put him at 98 in 8. Just waiting for the official score correction. And yes, 98 and 8 for Bill Olson. Bill Olson, box 9, opening pitch to the right of the head pin. Takes 3, takes a right side Candlepin corner. Second ball for the spare. He'll take the left side out. The 7 pin goes out. So he's at 100. He's at 101 now. See if he can make it any higher. Lane 5, Bill Olson, third ball for the 10 box, and it will be a 4 for 102. As Bill Olson comments to Jamie, he says, I just want to give you a shot. Two strikes, 5 spares for Bill Olson. 1 strike, 7 spares for Jamie McKenna. Olson to the left of the head pin. He'll take a half Worcester plus a friend. No head pin shot. Second ball for the spare, and he's off to the left, takes 2 more. It's 5 or greater for Bill Olson. 14 for 40 on the head pin with 6 splits. And that will be a 5 box. So second half was a little bit of a break from the first half, but that's 107 for Bill Olson, a tale of 2 halves. 4 game total of 366 for Bill Olson in the 4th. Jamie McKenna has to find 57 pins to tie and 58 to win. So we're going to say hello once again to Jamie McKenna on lane 5 here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. And he swings off to the right, and that's going to be a 3 fill, I believe. 3 fill is confirmed. It's the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 7, and the 8. And he's on the object pin on the center and takes all but the 2. So no mark, no second mark in a row, but he can take a nice 10 box out of it. And he will. It's 63 and 6 for Jamie McKenna. So more about Leda Lanes. Leda Lanes features 36 lanes, 18 on each side of the house. I'm not 100% positive on this, but I believe the lanes we are looking at today and the side of the house we're on today, they were actually transplanted from Winnipeg's Gate City Bowl, which used to be on the Danny Webster Highway in Nashua, New Hampshire, donated and transplanted to Leda Lanes after the former alley closed. Based on a 2011 Nashua Telegraph article, this expansion was in the early 1980s-ish. That's a split for Jamie McKenna, a 6-drop. 4637. Gate City Bowl was next to a duck pin alley and later a 10-pin alley called United Bowling Center, and it was renamed Nashua 10-pin. That's a spare for Jamie McKenna, meanwhile. 73-7 and a bonus. Jamie McKenna wants to hopefully steal the fourth game from Bill Olson if he can get a run of marks. Let's see what happens here. 73-7 and a bonus for Jamie McKenna. McKenna fires. Ooh, and wasn't on the head pin, but got a split out of it. That's the rare situation where that happens. That's a 7 fill for Jamie McKenna. That's 80-7. But he has a lot of wood. This could go. 8-9-10 for Jamie McKenna. McKenna fires. Oh, and he goes. He'll take the spare. That's 90 and a bonus in 8 for Jamie McKenna. And now I'm wondering if he's going to steal a fourth game from Bill Olson. He has the momentum. He needs 17 or greater. And he has a fill to work with. Jamie McKenna. And he's on the head pin, and that's a 7 fill. Now he just needs 10. He's at 97. Technically 104, actually, if you really want to do the math. That's Jamie McKenna versus the left side triangle for a spare. Will it go? Oh, he was on the object, and I wouldn't have done it any differently. But just the pins just danced around just a little bit, so it's going to be a 9 or a 10 box for Jamie McKenna. And a 9 it will be. He's at 106. 106 to Bill Olson's 107, but Jamie McKenna has one more box, so barring no disasters, he will take the fourth game as well, stealing it away from Bill Olson, who went to war for this game, but it might not be enough. Let's see what Jamie McKenna can do here. On lane 5 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. On the Winnipeg's Gate City Bowl side, he drops 7. He wasn't on the head pin. The 136. McKenna. Oh, and the ball just tails to the left. No mark. But that will be the fourth game for Jamie McKenna. He's currently 8 points so far today. And that's an 8 and a 114 game 4 for Jamie McKenna. 114 for Jamie McKenna. He steals it from Bill Olson by 7. 114 to Bill Olson's 107. 4-game total of 408 for Jamie McKenna. 4-game total of 366 for Bill Olson. Jamie McKenna in control of the total by 42 and has taken all 4 games so far. And those scores are confirmed. I was just double checking to make sure that everything was hunky-dory in the totals up on the scoreboard, and yes, they are correct. Bill Olson, meanwhile, he punches out the right side half Worcester. So when you punch out the 2 and the 8 or the 3 and the 9. Olson on the conversion of the half Worcester, and we saw a lot of this in the previous game, but unfortunately, nothing doing here. The 4, the 6, and the 10 on the deck. And Bill Olson will take 7 to open up the 5th and final game, which is technically worth 6 points if you really do the math. If you can somehow reclaim the total and take the game, you can get 6 points out of the 5th game. So I always say the 5th game is really kind of the most important one. It's your last chance to reclaim total pinfall, which is worth 4 points on its own. Olson to the right of the head pin. Some pins fall, some pins stay. It's a 5-drop. 1, 2, 4, 6, 10. And Olson will take one more out. 6 down, 4 up. 1, 2, 6, 10 for Bill Olson. And a nice 10 box for Bill Olson, all things considered. He takes the last 4 pins out. 2 and 2. 2 takes 2. That's Candlepin math right there. It's Bill Olson down there on lane 6. I'm Steve Kelly back here, and Jamie McKenna waiting in the wings. It's great to have you along at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. It's ACST Class D North action. That's Bill Olson on the 7 pin on the first ball. And Bill Olson chops a few more out. Leda Lanes has a bar called Kegler's Den, which offers an impressive number of taps, drinks, food, entertainment, karaoke, and plenty of other things to do. It's also poker as well, and Leda Lanes offers cornhole, both in the summer and the winter, outdoor in the summer, indoor in the winter. And my goodness, that's going to be a 3 box for Bill Olson, unfortunately, 20 after 3. Olson. He's to the left of the head pin this time. It looks like it's a 6 drop. Currently 26 after 4 in progress. 1, 3, 6, 8. And will it go? Oh, he thought he could take the sleeper. He was on the object pocket. Sleeper stays. Those shots can be deceptive. You can hit it right and that will happen. So Olson is working for our 10 box. He'll take 9 for 29 after 4. 2 strikes, 5 spares for Bill Olson today. 1 strike, 9 spares for Jamie McKenna. Bill Olson 14 for 44 on the head pin with 6 splits. Jamie McKenna 19 for 40 on the head pin with 11 splits. Bill Olson is to the right of the head pin, takes a few out. Olson for the spare. Will it go? Oh, he was close. Just couldn't get the mix. Leaves 2 on the deck, the 4 and the 8. And Olson will take 8 to finish his half at 37 after 5. And let's see where we're at. So, end of the first half of the 5th game for Bill Olson. That puts him at 37 after 5 and a 4.5 game total of 403. Jamie McKenna with a 4-game total of 408. Let's see if he can keep things rolling here. Jamie McKenna starts out. To the right of the head pin, drops 5. 4 horsemen left and the 8. And he'll take 2, leave 2. No mark. 1 and the 8 are left on the deck. Jamie McKenna for the 10 box. And he'll take 1, leave 1 for a 9. 9 after 1 for Jamie McKenna so far. Leda Lanes hosts many large tournaments throughout the year, including Luck of the Irish, Halloween Scramble, and Ray's Easter Classic, that of which a 20-game tournament brings out the best bowlers from both the U.S. and Canada for a huge Easter Sunday Super Bowl of sorts. It's been hosted every year at Leda Lanes. And Jamie McKenna with another 5 drop, looks like. 1, 3, 6, 10, 8. And that is a cleary. And he'll not be on the object pin, but he'll take all but the object pin. That's the story of this box for Jamie McKenna, no mark. 9 or 10 box on the head pin. Take the head pin, take the 10, and that's what happens. Jamie McKenna with a 10 box for 19 after 2. There's a plaque on the wall at Kegler's Den that reads, quote, "During the Middle Ages, various forms of bowling became popular in European countries. The English bowled in the 1100s, And around the 1300s, the Germans rolled or threw stones at wooden clubs called kegels. Today, bowlers are still often called keglers. And Jamie McKenna for the mark. He just can't quite get it. Fun fact, and I believe someone can maybe verify this for me, but Bolamat in Beverly, Massachusetts also used to have a bar called Kegler's Den. So just a little linkage between Bolamat and Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. And I believe that's going to be a 5-box for Jamie McKenna. Excuse me, no, it's a 6-box. He's at 25 after 3. Bill Wilson, 20 after 3. McKenna fires, and he's on the left of the headpin, but will he get some decent mixing action? Not so. I was wondering if the 1 or the 2 would fall, but they did not. McKenna for the spare. See if you... Wow, I thought he would run down the 4 horsemen, but nothing doing. He's left with the 10 on the deck for a 10-box. Jamie McKenna for the 10-box, and he'll be right on it for a 10 for 35 and 4. Jamie McKenna today, 19 for 44 in the headpin with 11 splits. Bill Olson, 14 for 45 with 6 splits. Jamie McKenna has 1 strike and 9 spares. Bill Olson has 2 strikes and 5 spares. Jamie McKenna, opening pitch. Another one of these 4 horsemen-esque situations down there. This is just the 6 drop, 4 horsemen, 1, 3, 6, 10. McKenna fires. And he's right on the headpin, a little bit too much on the headpin. Leaves the 3, 6, 10. McKenna for the 10-box. He'll take 1, leave 2. 8-box, 43.5 compared to Bill Olson's 37.5. Jamie McKenna markless, Bill Olson markless in this at the end of the top of the 5th. As we now advance to the bottom of the 5th for both bowlers here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, winding down in the home stretch here. Bill Olson will lead off on lane 5. And that is a quarter Worcester for Bill Olson. So you know what a half Worcester is, but that's the quarter Worcester. And on the conversion, he gets a few more. Not a whole lot else to say about that. Leaves the 1, the 4, the 7, and the 8. And Olson for the 10-box, he'll take a 7. That's a 7 for Bill Olson. That's 44 and 6. Bill Olson's to the right of the headpin, but gets a nice mix of 6. 1, 2, 4, 10. Oops. There he is. Bill Olson for the spare shot. On the 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4 go. 10 does not. Olson for the 10-box, and he'll get the 10-box. 54 in 7 for Mr. Bill Olson. Bill Olson fighting for points at this point. All 4 games prior to this one have gone to Jamie McKenna, including the 4th game where it was a really close steal for Jamie McKenna by 7. 114 to 107, respectively. Bill Olson to the right of the headpin. I think he dropped 6. He dropped 6. 4 horsemen left side. 1, 2, 4, 7. Olson on the left side, 4 horsemen. He's just on the 4 and the 7, leaves the 1 and the 2. 1 and the 2 for Bill Olson. For a 10-box. And he'll take a 10. That's his second 10-box in a row. That puts him at 64 after 8. So before we go today, I want to thank a couple of people, including our ACST committee members, our ACST League Commissioner, Danny Finn. And meanwhile, though, that's a strike by Bill Olson. That's his third strike of the match. 74 and a bonus and 9 for Bill Olson. Fantastic shot by Bill Olson. Anyways, yes, I'd like to thank our ACST League Commissioner, Danny Finn, our Class D Treasurer, Nate Lees, our statistician, Micah Imperato, and Bill Olson for the double. 9 drop. Oh, almost 10. He wanted to go out with a bang, and that was quite a bang. He drops everything with a 10 pin. Bill Olson. See if we can get a spare on strike. And I think that will be good. No one's saying anything, no one's doing anything, so that is a spare on strike. I think. Nope, marked as good. Okay. One of those things where I legit couldn't tell. Despite looking at it, I couldn't tell. So Bill Olson, spare on strike. Final ball. He's on the head pin and with a 9 fill. What a redemption by Bill Olson. He shows up in the last 2 boxes. Spare on strike and then a 9 fill for Bill Olson. That's a 103 fifth game and a 469 5-game total for Bill Olson. Bit of a sigh of relief for Bill Olson and as well as myself, because I was like, I know he can get a couple more marks out of this. And he definitely did. So that's 103 with 10-10, strike 10, spare 9 in the last 4 boxes, propelling him from a potential disaster of a 5th game to a nice way to cross the finish line for Bill Olson. So meanwhile, Jamie McKenna now is going to finish his last half. Oh, and Nick Susi is fixing something. Good job, Nick Susi. Good job. Jamie McKenna on lane 5 is going to be starting out. Bill also went 16 for 50 on the head pin today with 6 splits. That's a 32% head pin completion percentage, and that's Jamie McKenna with a 5 drop. 136 910. And on the pile of 5 on the right side, Jamie McKenna takes 2, leaves 3, leaves the right side back rear triangle, 6 9 10. And that'll be an 8 for Jamie McKenna. So anyways, where did I leave off? So yes, our statistician, Micah Imperato, always thank you. Thank our Class D Treasurer, Nate Lees, our ACST League Commissioner, Danny Finn, and Steve Abodeely for some of the B-roll and photography that you may be seeing during some of the transitional scenes. Check him out at stabodeely.com, STABODEELY.com. And that's Jamie McKenna, a little bit too much on the head pin with a split spread eagle. 4 drop. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. He made a variant of this way back around the first game, I believe. And he wanted to do the same thing. Will there be a spread eagle for a spare? Come on, go backwards. 4 pin falls. Again, these slow-moving spares almost go, but unfortunately not so for Jamie McKenna. Almost a spread eagle for a spare. And he'll take a 960 after 7 for Jamie McKenna. One of those heartbreaker kind of situations. So I hope this was a pleasant viewing experience for you. If you enjoyed what you saw and want to see more, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. Strike, comment, and subscribe. There's also a bunch of other stuff you can check out, like the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour page on Facebook and YouTube, Candlepin Bowling Network on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, 3-Ball Spare on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, Candlepin Corner on YouTube and Facebook. TikTok has at Candlepin Bowling, Outrun the Bear pages on Facebook and Instagram. 7 drop for Jamie McKenna, 137 for a spare. Takes 1 out, leaves the rest. There's Alley Chat on YouTube and alleychat.net. There's Wolfman12395 on YouTube for classic Candlepin matches from the old days. There's also the Candlepin Bowling channel on YouTube and the Ripping the Rack podcast on YouTube. That's a 10 box for Jamie McKenna, 70 after 8. That is confirmed. And there's also the Approach podcast. There's Tony Levesque on YouTube and Charlie Collins on TikTok. So I encourage you to check all those out. If you want to go bowling, go to candlepin.org and click Go Bowling to find your nearest center. Any center nearby you will always appreciate your business. Check out the world of Candlepin bowling. That's a 5 drop and a split for Jamie McKenna, 4 horse. The spread eagle minus the 2, the 3, 6, 10, 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. Excuse me. Jamie McKenna's been good at making these lately, or at least striking the object pocket, and he does there too. So every time I see him with one of these, I get a little bit excited because I'm like, he's really swinging for the fences on these. And that'll be a 9 box for Jamie McKenna, 79 and 9. Looks like Bill Olson will walk away with points today, unless Jamie McKenna can get a triple strike here in the 10th. That is the benchmark for Jamie McKenna to make. McKenna on the head pin. Oh, and it looked like it was going to be a strike ball briefly, but that's a 7 drop and a split. That will be the 5th game for Bill Olson. Jamie McKenna's looking at the 8-9-6. McKenna for the mark. Oh, and I thought he was going to get the kick, but he was just a little bit too much to the right, so that will be the 5th game for Bill Olson. Bill Olson gets points today. He gets 2 points. Jamie McKenna will go 12 points. And Jamie McKenna almost gets the kick, but that'll be a 9 box. And that will be it. That is the end of the bowling. End of regulation. Bill Olson will take 2 points. Jamie McKenna will take 8. 5-game total of 496 for Bill Olson. And a 5-game total of 469. Excuse me, 5-game total of 469 for Bill Olson. 5-game total of 496 for Jamie McKenna. Similar totals, just flip around the numbers. 1 strike for McKenna, 3 strikes for Olson, 9 spares for McKenna, 6 spares for Olson. And let's take a look at the final stats here while we have a moment. So Jamie McKenna takes 12, Bill Olson takes 2. 496 McKenna, 469 Bill Olson. And the head pin percentage award goes to Jamie McKenna today, 22 for 50. Bill Olson, 16 for 50. Bill Olson will move to 36 and 104. Jamie McKenna will move to 81 and 59. And in terms of the fill totals, they were almost even. Jamie McKenna, 62. Bill Olson, 60, averaging 6.2 per mark for Jamie McKenna and 6.7 per mark for Bill Olson. Bill Olson really recovering midway through the match in terms of that statistic. In terms of the splits, Jamie McKenna was significantly less lucky than Bill Olson, 14 splits to Bill Olson's 6. Anyways, that should just about do it for us at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. I've been Steve Kelly on the call. It's been great to have you along. And again, we were at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. That's where our match was today. Check it out. We're on Amherst Street in Nashua, New Hampshire. And of course, also check out the socials on Candlepin Bowling and the World of Candlepin Bowling, Candlepin Bowling Network, 3 Ball Spare, Candlepin Corner, at Candlepin Bowling on TikTok, the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. That's what this match was today. And of course, there's Candlepin Chat on Facebook for discussion, alleychat.net for Friday night Pro League recaps and the like. There's also classic Candlepin match YouTube channels like Wolfman12395 and the Candlepin Bowling channel. Then there's also Ripping the Rack, the podcast, the Approach podcast, Tony Levesque and Charlie Collins on TikTok. And of course, last but not least, Candlepins for Cancer. Candlepins number 4cancer.com. Sign up for qualifying or roll-offs or to donate. The next roll-offs will be at Riverwalk Lanes in Amesbury, Massachusetts if you want to sign up for the tournament, or if you just want to donate to folks in the Candlepin Bowling community for financial assistance or in need of assistance for cancer-related stuff. It's a fantastic organization run by Al Johnson and Paul Grant. Al Johnson in the blue in the photo there, and Paul Grant in the red. That was taken from the Big 20 Bowling Center at the previous Candlepins for Cancer roll-off. So definitely check that out, Candlepins number 4cancer.com. And also check out candlepin.org and click Go Bowling to find your nearest center. Any center you can find will always appreciate your business, even all the way out in Albany, New York, all the way up in Augusta, Maine, or down in Whitensville, Massachusetts, wherever it is. Candlepin Bowling has got you covered. Canada as well, just not on the map here, that's all. Anyways, I've been Steve Kelly, and for Jamie McKenna and Bill Olson, have a great one, everyone. We'll see you at the next Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour.